today's seventh window of health. So, just to introduce everybody to Dr. Wallace, if you haven't been on a Clubhouse with her yet, what we're doing is a series of different, I guess, episodes, different Clubhouse meetings here and calls where Dr. Wallace is sharing her particular way of assessing your health concerns through what she calls the windows of health. They offer guidance for 8 specific areas of influences on your health: infection, environmental factors, allergies, structural and genetic factors, belief systems, ancestral influences, which we did last week. And by the way, all of these calls are being recorded.
Thank you.
So just know that if you do come up to get a medical intuitive reading, you will be on record, so you can do a couple of things if you are needing to have a little bit more anonymity. Is just go by your first name, and you can even change your picture out if you'd like. But we will record those so you can go back and listen to these calls, which is super important because you're going to hear some things that you might not have heard when you first had Aubrey do this reading for you. So I do recommend you go back and listen again. The last window of health would be other factors, and that's going to be 2 weeks from now. And it's all really amazing information, so I do recommend you go back and listen to those other ones as you are guided to. Today, though, we're focusing on stress factors,
Yeah.
which is basically the basis for most of our health
Yeah.
issues. And so, Dr. Aubrey, I know you have a lot to say about that today, so let's just jump in, and then when she is done with that portion of the call, we'll start in on the mini medical intuitive readings. Okay, take it away, Aubrey.
Thank you. All right. So today is window number 7, which is systems of stress. And when my guides gave me this particular window of health, it is one of the aspects of health that are in the frame of the window. So the frames, again, are a little bit more ingrained, a little bit more complex and deep patterns that create challenges for us in our health. The systems of stress window really comes in most often in medical intuitive readings when not necessarily just as a stress factor. And stress, the definition of stress is just pressure or tension exerted on an object, right, or something. And I, of course, like to frame everything in terms of the body because I am a geek and love the body. So I like to think about stress in terms of the body because I think it's an easy way to look at growth. In biology, we really look at the stress factors that impact an organism are both necessary completely for the growth of the organism and also determine the direction of growth of the organism in many ways. So the stress is what is exerted by our environment upon us that dictates, and I don't know if it dictates, that influences our particular angles and levels of growth through our lives. The systems of stress that I talk about here, a system is when there's an organization or a complex that has been created with kind of a group of functions or a group of rules that a system runs by. So a system is more complex organization than just a single individual. I want to describe, and I know I like for people to know the levels of function, levels of organization in the body. So I'm going to go there. So hopefully you won't get bored. But in the levels of organization in our body, in our organism, we actually start with the base level of organization is like the atomic level, right? So we're made up of a bunch of atoms. And if you know quantum physics at all, or if you had to take, organic chemistry, you know that all of that level is mostly space. So at our base level of organization, we are pretty much potential, right? We're mostly potential to shift. When we move up in one level of organization in the body, we turn into these chemical kind of there's a chemical level of organization, which is molecules, right? And different ways that those atoms get together. And then there's a leap going from the chemical level of just a bunch of chemicals running around in a soup to the cellular level of the body. And the cellular level is a big leap from chemistry. All right. So when a cell is a complicated, specialized organism of it's not an organism, it's a cell, but it has its own complex tasks and its own complex functions, almost the equivalent to a little tiny world in itself, right? So we leap there, then we leap to the cellular level. And then when you get a bunch of cells working together that have a particular function, they become the next level of organization, which is called tissue. Okay, so if you get a bunch of the same kind of cells together, they get together and create a tissue, and we have different body tissues. So some examples of your body tissues are muscle tissue. All of the muscle tissues do a muscular function. All muscles can contract and relax, right? That's the muscle tissue. Or there's nerve tissue, means all nerve tissues can fire an electrical signal. And connective tissues, all the connective tissues do something that connects, and they have a matrix aspect and they have a gel aspect, and they do all these different levels of connecting. So when you put a bunch of cells together and they do the same thing, that's a system, kind of. It's not yet to the system, it's a tissue. Okay, so the tissue level, then it evolves to the next level of organization, which is called the organ level, which means all four of the different tissues. So you have nerve, connective tissue, muscle, and epithelial, which is kind of the liner and protector tissue. You have to have all four of those get together and have a party, and when they do, they make an organ. So an organ, you know your organs. So the spleen or the heart, right? That's an organ. The lungs are an organ. So when all those tissues, all those different types of cells are getting together and working together as an organ, then that organ also becomes a particular function in the body. So your heart is designed to pump. Your heart's complicated. You got a lot there, but the heart mostly helps to circulate the blood in the body, and also has very many endocrine functions that we know of now. The lungs bring in and exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. So you have all this complex organization going on to bring that aspect into the body. When you get organs together, you make what's called a system finally. So in a body system, it's a collection of organs that have the same job. So the cardiovascular system has blood vessels and the heart and capillaries and all that aspect, all of the types of things that go into the cardiovascular system, and the kidneys kind of lock in there a little bit. They're mostly in the urinary system, right? So when you get organs together to do a job, that's considered a body system. So when I start looking into my systems of stress on the window of health, I'm talking about that level of organization. But I'm talking about it in terms of the systems that we're functioning under in our day-to-day life. So these are the big structures that we have in our world that influence us on a basic energy level, influence the path of ability that we have to navigate through our lives. These include economic systems. So this is, how think about how much the economic system of your culture has impacted your life. Okay, so we think of it as I have stress, but what I want you to think about is how much of that stress actually comes from the agendas and the motivation and the function of the economic structure you're in. How about the communication systems? So there's a way that the complex around us, the culture around us has with, and the world now has with communication systems. What kind of stress does that put on us? Um, there are cultural systems, there are political systems, there are the medical system, there's the educational system, there's the transportation system, there is, you have, there are so many different systems. And there's the ecologic system. So that doesn't even count how the sun is affecting our planet, or how there's the astrological system, or the movement of the planets. So when I'm talking about a system of stress, generally I'm talking about a major system that's coming in with an influence on our lives. So it's not something that it's easy to just say, well, you're stressed and let's just work on that. Although oftentimes we do have to look at how is stress happening for us in our day to day, because we need just enough and we need not too much. Okay. If you don't have any stress, you don't continue to grow. And if you have too much stress, it inhibits your ability to grow and thrive, and it doesn't give you something to kind of push against and move through the environment. These systems of stress, though, we really have to look at differently. It's my belief that if we're going to overcome problems that happen at the systems of stress level, generally the first thing that has to happen with a system of stress impact on our body and on our health is that we have to be aware of it. So we have to become aware. I'm experiencing sexism, right, in my life. If this is happening, like this is actually misogyny right now. And I thought it was me. And I thought that all this stuff is going on and my mind is trying so hard to control what's happening in my life and blah, blah, blah. We spin around in a soup and try to fix something that is actually just an awareness that there's a tiered system of misogyny here that isn't working to my benefit. And I need to have an awareness that's happening. And then I can take action to account for that stress in my life and let go of any extra stress I'm putting on myself to perpetuate that idea or that system. Or maybe what I'd like to see us do is get together, because we are, I think of us almost kind of like the cellular level of our collective universe here of the earth. I guess it's not the universe, our collective planet. And we each have a specialized function here. We're all completely individual. But if we decided to get together on something and shift the tissue and then shift the system level all the way to the system level, we can completely change these systems of stress and create a different way of being together. Most of the, all of the new age stuff, I don't know if it's new age or old age and new age wisdom is, that we create our reality. And I believe we collectively create our reality. And if you've got the 100th monkey thing, and you've got the prayer works things, and you have all this evidence in our life that if we do get together collectively and maybe even bring ourselves down to that atomic level for a second and stay in the potential of what we could create instead of getting caught up in these systems of stress that are impacting us from the top. If we could collectively get down there and stay at that potential level, and then let ourselves generate some new ideas, generate some evolved ways of connecting, maybe even generate a new tissue or something really cool, so that we could create a new foundation and a new system from which we can make an impact and a ripple on these bigger systems of stress that impact us. I think that's how evolution would work for us, for our planet, at least for our little organ system that we're working in this locality. So what the heck does this mean? If I get a 7 for you on a window of health, it generally means that some major system of stress is impacting you. And I have noticed this most often in things like racism, right? So if racism is coming in as a system of stress or a system of impact on a person, there is a lot of energy that's hitting that person that they have to deal with, and it's not something that they necessarily have a lot of control over the reaction of in their world. But we can acknowledge it and then work within, connecting with each other to try to help move that, move out of that system or help change the system together, to get out of that version. Other things that happen here are family systems of stress. So oftentimes, like, economic structures cause major stress on a family unit. And so many of the things that we've done in our lives to adapt have to do with that original stressor on a family, that and all of the dynamics we create and the reactions and little tiny organ system level things that we do to become safe and solid as we move through our development. Those things were all developed against that original big system problem, right? And so we have to unravel some of those even on the family level in order to see, this is what our families have chosen to do with adapting to this original big stress, before we can get ourselves around and back up and let go and get down to that foundation level with the families also and say, what is resilient now? What do we want these new systems of economics to be? And can we collectively make a new one, create something that's more sustainable and more workable for all of us? Last one I think I probably want to just bring up a little bit here is there's an earth level of stress, which is, when it comes in on a reading, it's called geopathic stress in my head, or God help me if they say location, location, location in my head. It generally means that the actual location the person is on the planet is putting a system of stress on them, that they are not thriving in their health because they're literally needing to move to somewhere else. So even at that level, the systems of stress can play in. My big take home here is the systems of stress, I think, they are on the window of health right before the other category, which we're talking about next week. And the other category is, everything else: past life issues, life purpose issues, entities, empathy, superpowers, like all sorts of other things come in on the other category. This one to me is like, this is our call as a collective group to do something else with our lives, to do something to evolve the systems that are functioning in our collective group. So the systems of stress really are both, they're to me the evolved level of health. They're where we move from our ancestry. It's not just our individual beliefs anymore. That's number 5. It's not just our ancestral influences and stories anymore, right? It's not our stories. It's not our ancestors' stories. And then we go to this system of stress level, and it's not what we've already created together necessarily yet. It's telling us this is where we've come, being collecting together and creating reality. And this one needs to be looked at. Most often when there's a system of stress imbalance on someone's health, it is resolved by a system of people helping them. So if there is, a lot of people come in and I will see them being influenced by a work system. So a business corporation or something will have kind of plugged into them, and they will be using that person's energy and resources to navigate, to feed the monster, like to feed the beast, right? That happens in medicine a lot. That happens in a lot of large level corporations that are kind of facilitating greed, in my opinion. So when those come in and plug into someone and that person's being utilized in that system, sometimes what needs to help them to get out most often is a group. It's often a group of people that get together and help the person get out of the thing that the system of the problem got them into. Or if there's a problem with the earth being an impact on them or a stress to them, the solution to the problem is to find the portion of the earth that is supportive to them, right? So this level is not as easily accessible to just do this, and that will fix your problem. This level is accessible to how are you being impacted, and how does this inform what you'd like to change the world to be? And are you willing to take some action in connecting with others so that we can start to change these systems, these collective systems, so that they stop exerting stress in this way, and impacting health for us collectively? All right, I think I just said the word collectively like 60 times. So that's it. There's your system of stress.
And like you said, huge
Yeah,
influence
hard
on
to
all
talk
of
about.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it feels so big and overwhelming, especially in the last several years where multiple systems of collective stress have been impacting us as individuals. And, we're fried. We
yeah,
are feeling really taxed and in some cases helpless and hopeless to change those bigger systems, but we can do that collectively. And I think that's what you're really speaking to. And if we each do our part to add to the mix, then we actually can turn this ship around. So I love that, Aubrey. It's so important to remember that it's not just the individual stressors, it's actually everything that we are surrounded by and not even consciously aware of in some cases that are exerting stress on our bodies, our health, mental well-being. So huge.
I do think so often in health we have to hit that level.
Mm-hmm.
In as a collective group, we have to get fried, and we have to get to that before we actually are motivated to make a change. And I'm sorry, Carol, I'm going just a little bit further, but one of the
Yeah.
things that really helps me here is stress is experienced in our bodies, in our nervous system first, right? Our nervous
Mm-hmm.
system is the one that runs the current of stress along with the endocrine. Um, when the nervous system needs to make a change, it actually actively inhibits the system that needs to be stopped. it
Mm.
it goes after it and it stops it. It inhibits it and it promotes the system that needs to work. So it feels important for me to say sometimes the best first step is for us all, at least if we're in line with how the body functions, is for us to stop putting energy in first or inhibit ourselves from putting energy into what isn't working and then move in the direction of where we want to go.
Oh, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
When the problems are too big to solve, it's not necessarily helpful to start there, but
Yeah.
really clarify, identify, and move towards, well, what would we love to create?
Yes.
Yes. So let's get started with the mini medical intuitive readings. And I see there are several people that have joined us here on deck. And so we're going to start with Doreen. And you
All
can
right.
take yourself off mic. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Doreen. How are you?
Pretty good.
Yay. What would you like us to play with today? Anything you've been curious about with your health?
Yeah, well, I was on your last call about the ancestral part,
Oh,
and
yes.
I have lipedema.
Ah,
And
that's you. Hi. I'm
hi.
not so good with my memory when I do readings. I'm sorry. You got to
Oh,
remind me.
yeah, I don't expect you to remember me. Um,
I do now. There we go.
I don't know how. I do have questions that came up after that, and I don't know
Okay.
how that ties into what you're talking about today. I'm sure it will.
That's okay.
But uh so I desire to reverse the lipedema and slow it down as much as I can. And then you were talking about uh when you were looking at me from the waist down, it looked like I was in water.
Yes.
Uh, and that there was something stuck at the third chakra. And you said that I called it in, and then something got stuck. And I didn't know if you were talking about if I called the disease in or if I.
Uh, so no, not that you called the disease in. Um, uh, there was a sense that, well, let me see if they can give me, that you called the change in. You
Okay.
had called in for that was like a spiritual growth calling,
Okay.
right? And what I felt more specifically is essentially you were allowing the feminine power to rise in you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Does that
I
make
thought that
sense?
might be it, but I just
Okay,
wanted to clarify that because I wasn't sure. And then, sorry, there's a little bit of noise here. I'll be done with the noise in a second.
that's okay.
Um, then I don't know exactly what that was and what I stopped. So um, I certainly don't want to block that anymore, especially if it's going to help me heal. And then the other thing was the thing with the ancestors that came in, um, with the male ancestors being angry, and that I'm angry because it took so long to get a diagnosis. And you said 80% of that anger is not yours.
Okay.
And so I know personally I need to release anger and process that emotion. I'm a life coach, actually.
Oh,
But I was wondering if I need what that has to do with them, and do I need to work with the
someone to help with it.
ancestors to
Yeah.
help them release the anger? Or yeah, so I don't know.
Okay. It sounds like we got you a little befuddled. So let's see if we can. Let's see if I can just listen in and see where the guides would like me to offer clarity. So it sounds like maybe we could use some clarity today. Is that about right?
Sure, yeah.
Awesome. Let's ask for that. Okay. So the first thing they're having me talk to you about is the present moment. So we want to stay present, in particular with patterns at this level of processing, not processing, with patterns that are working with this level of intensity. um, each moment is completely different. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so there's an there the mind in this case too will always be trying to make sense of things and fix the problem. Does that make sense? Your mind's job is to fix your problems and keep you safe.
Yep.
And so, in terms of me saying something like, the major illness you have is that your spiritual aspect is rising up to overturn your life, and your mind blocked it off so that you could maintain some stability of your independent idea of yourself. you know uh, that's a lot for the mind, so I need to be a little nicer to the mind there, right? So let's see if we can help. The mind needs clarity, and so usually when the mind needs clarity, this is the system of stress level actually does apply here, in that probably what is happening as we collectively have women, not just women, men and women, as the feminine rises across the group, it is rising up in response to one of those systems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And or many of them uh, that have, and in your case it feels like taking on the medical system aspect to help change it, to help change the world.
Okay.
And so there's a surrender there of, oh yes, this is part of what I'm here for, this is one of my paths.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can say stuff like, your ancestors are angry, right? They have all this anger stuck in there, and that is the imbalanced perspective of that. But the balanced perspective of the ancestors is your ancestors are rising up with you in an attempt to help make you resilient so that you can bust through and change the world here. So it's their agenda that they would like to support. Be your roots, help you expand your root power so that as you grow and develop here, that you have all your resource from them, from their experiences, from their history, from their challenges and overcoming, from everything that's gone right and wrong for them. They're gifting it to you. Okay?
Oh, that's beautiful.
it just happens sometimes to come up with a lot of feistiness. So I don't know if you've been around family, but that's what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
So these ancestors have fought wars and
Yeah.
possibly won them.
Yeah.
And they know the good and the bad of the wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they are bringing that to you to come through you and with you. And you are bringing them the future. You're bringing them the evolved next evolution of human. And you're showing them that maybe the feminine, and what I feel like is coming in here is it's time to end the wars. Like it's
Yeah.
time to stop this needless loss,
Yeah.
right? And all this energy spent in that direction.
Yeah.
and and that being angry is sometimes extremely useful for exactly what Carolyn was just saying there. We need to get tired and frazzled and annoyed and done. We need to get done
Yeah.
sometimes before we stand up and say, what else?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like part of what I felt coming through you here is that you're getting up and I to me there's a lot of stress on doctors. There's a major system of stress on doctors. The
Mm-hmm.
medical system's on everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's in that thing. And so they also need to get done. Like they need for someone to stand up and say to them, I know you're doing the best you can in your job, but I've spent 12 years with this and no one, and y'all are idiots. Like, not that you're
Yeah.
idiots, but you missed this.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's because you're not trying. I think it's because you're not, because it's complicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or many other things. We'll leave it alone. But because the system isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I would say yes, you want to work with your ancestors. Please work with your ancestors.
Okay.
Ancestral healing sessions mean if you need help from me or someone for an ancestral healing session, that's just me helping you say this is how your ancestors would like to heal and heal with you and help you. And at the end of those sessions, you should feel as if you have your ancestral team with you and
Mm-hmm.
you guys are ready to go. But you don't need me for that. You need you for that and your ancestors and a couple of minutes, probably like an hour, right? Or maybe longer. And just talk to them, connect with them. They've been there with you the whole time. The only thing I do is help you see point direct. Does that make sense? And I'm pretty good at you know, flavors. So I'm like, this one feels like a war and this one feels like that.
Yeah.
That, yeah. So I
Yeah. That's
navigate.
that's all super interesting. And I became interested in my genealogy a couple years ago and traced my ancestry, and it was very moving. And
There you go.
I do have a lot of males who are in all the wars,
There you go.
all a lot in the civil and all the way back to the revolutionary.
Yeah.
And even my dad, um, most people have my age have grandparents in World War II, but my parents had me older, and my dad was in World War II and came back when he after he, I mean, I just
It's
this
all
is
there.
yeah, he came
Yeah.
back after the war and met my mom and said he wasn't going to live a long life because of everything he experienced, so he died when I was 3.
And that's World War II, darling. So I mean, the travesties of that war, just,
Yeah.
yeah. So and not that I wasn't at the other ones either, but wow, right? Just
Yeah.
wow on all that. So,
Yeah.
yes, you might consider if this is that level of work you're doing, this
Okay.
would be a good time to get help. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
you can do it, you will do it, you are the one that's doing it. And
This is
then the
so
next question
interesting.
is, do you need help?
Yeah, I probably need help with this one because
Yeah.
it's really interesting because I've always said I was here to heal the matriarchal line, the non-nurturance coming down from my mother. And then when you started talking about men, and I was like, really? That too? I got to do that too?
No, that's what you heal. Because the matriarchal line, oh, we have we have all of the resilience and the gifts of every ancestor you've ever had wants to
Yeah.
give you their gifts. So it can be so beautifully overwhelming when you start the game. So I think that's the direction to go probably to
Okay.
get your feet because you're already on the path. You're already
Right.
working against your system of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
that helps. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I
All right.
love that clarification. Yeah. So, because again, here's an example of that, just the generational stress, the stress from a big collective event, and it just carries over on and on and on. So, thank you for bringing that to the table, Doreen. Hey, that helps us all. So, who's next is Kathy. If you'd like a mini medical reading, intuitive reading, you can take yourself off of mic if you're ready to go.
Hi, Kathy. It's the bottom right there, usually on your. Oh, she jumped down.
Oops, she
Okay,
just jumped
must
down.
not be ready.
Okay, we're going to go on to Jeanette, but before we do that, would you like to share, Ari, your special promotion for those that might be interested in going deeper with this work?
Absolutely. So I decided one of the systems of stress on all of us right now is kind of the sheer amount of crap we have to deal with emails and all the stress of money and the economic system. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do a big special here. So if you guys need help right now, I'm offering $53 off, which is quite a bit of money off the readings. And I will even allow that through. I will do a week of that. So if you book anything in the next week, you get $53 off your service, which is like a fifth of the price. Um, and you could even use it to buy gift certificates if you want to do it that way for the holidays. So I will offer that until next Wednesday.
Awesome. And we
And
will post all the details then in the chat
and
for you to grab that.
yes, the code is SOS relief, but I'll put it in there. So system of stress relief. Oh, and it looks like Kathy was trying to stay on the stage, but
Oh, okay. I'll just invite her up to
and
speak
that will give
again.
me a second to write SOS relief into the chat. There you go.
Okay.
So that one will get you a deal.
Awesome. Yeah,
Oh,
and
there.
you just go to the
There, we got
website to
it.
book that. Hi, Kathy.
Yes.
Sorry, I
So
could not figure out how to get my microphone to work, and I. Anyway, I'm such a
you did it.
technological geek. I can't do anything. Um, Thank you.
Of
And
course.
I'm sorry to
Hi.
interrupt.
No.
Um, I haven't seen you for a while, Aubrey.
I know. Hi. How are you?
Good. I just put in for a reading tomorrow, so
All right. We'll
um,
get you.
yeah. So I guess my question is, I've been dealing with thyroid issues. I just had a major thing in my eye, a big ulcer found in my eye.
Oh,
I feel like my body's being attacked, and I'm wondering if you see what are. I mean, I'm under stress. I'm buying a house. There's no doubt, but in the meantime, I'm like not doing much, and I'm not feeling well.
okay.
So I'm wondering if there's systems of stress that are happening, or any information you can give me that would help.
All right. All
Because I'm
right.
getting the medical community's, perspective, but it all gets confusing with everything else going on. So
You got it. All right. So thyroid and eye ulcer. Okay. So I didn't get the system of stress here. I got a couple of eights. So the thyroid I get 831. So let's see what the 8 is. I have an entity, the 3, emotional, environmental. I do have an environmental allergy, emotional allergy. I have an emotional allergy, food. And I majorly have a food allergy there. And then I have an infection. Is this a virus? Is this a parasite? Bacteria? So I've got a virus and an other.
great.
Ah, great. We got fun.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not. Yeah.
So there's enough to do with the thyroid there for sure. Um, so the entity, let me see if I can fill into that. 8-5. That's a desire entity. And if you have a reading with me tomorrow, we need to work on this, okay?
Okay.
So remind me.
I think it's one that I've already had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the quality of this one. They're telling me this is about 60% of the experience of your thyroid being imbalanced, is that particular entity.
Oh.
And I guess the flavor I would give you there is like I'm never better. Like I'm always trying to be better or always be healthy, right? It feels like a desire for health or
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So we need to work on that one tomorrow, all right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's environmental allergy. Let's check this. Oh, smoke, dust. So I do feel dust, mold, and mold,
Oh.
and anything else. There's something else there, Dawn. I'm not sure what it is, but it feels almost like industrial, like an industrial uh, allergen.
Could it be like the PCBs I was exposed to?
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
So, and actually, that's jumping up with the eye ulcer for me. Also, that is jumping up as a toxin.
Okay.
Okay. Then the emotional allergy here. Yeah, so this is pretty strong anxiety, okay? So
Yeah.
when you get triggered by this, I'm never going to be better, you go into anxiety.
Yes.
So we're going to work on those tomorrow, but I need you to look at I'm anxious all of a sudden out of here. It's about my health. Dr. Wallace said this is an emotional allergy I'm going to
Okay.
avoid, okay?
Okay.
I'm just going
Okay.
to put that away and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
And
because it
then
comes up and it just makes my whole
it
body just
panic.
panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything else, go do anything else. That's going to be like a PTSD trigger. If you want, you can start doing havening, or tapping, or go outside and start deep breathing, or put your feet
Oh
in the
yeah, I'm
ground.
gonna deep breathe in all this smoke that's probably killing me too. I
Stay
mean, it's
inside and deep
literally,
breathe. There
yeah,
you
in
go.
Bellevue, it's
Yeah.
you can barely see. It's
Oh
so smoky
yeah.
there.
All right.
So
So, and that might be if that dust mold smoke piece might be coming in.
okay.
All right. And then we should discuss the food allergy because it's only saying it's like 23%. But I do think we might want to look at a food thing with the thyroid in particular. And then
Okay.
virus, yeah, the ABVs in there. Other,
Jeez.
I know, never done. Seems like, is there another virus here? There is another virus there also, but we'll talk about it
Okay.
together. And then other. Okay, so this sense, I think this is less than I've ever felt it. I need you to hear this. You're doing an amazing job of not being psychically invaded. Congratulations, you're a rock star. This one feels more like it's just a little impact of kind of an energetic invasion on the left side of your neck,
Yeah.
left lower neck. So you want to just keep yourself attending to that. Just feel it, that one, and see
Okay.
if it's associated with anyone.
Okay.
There you go. And then do you get a quality on it?
No. What do you mean equality? Like a.
You know what? That one doesn't feel super bad to me. It kind of feels like, it honestly feels like what I feel from, like, this is going to sound bad, but like real estate agents when they just want to make sure you're going to do what they want you to do. Like,
Oh.
or like a banker, like they'll kind of hook us a little and be like, we've got you where we want you, just don't move too much either way, right?
Okay.
So that you can just shrug it off. That one's just like, I'll decide when I decide. Thank you.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
Aubrey. I'll see you
Yes.
tomorrow.
Awesome. We'll work with
Okay.
those tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for playing.
Awesome. Okay. And moving on, we have Jeanette.
Hi, Jeanette.
Hello, Jeanette. Can you come off mic and you're up next for reading? I'll give you just a second.
Yeah.
And Jeanette, we might have to just move on here to Samira. Samira, can you come off the mic? Yeah, there you
Yay!
go.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Okay,
How are
perfect.
you?
Hi, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I've been thinking about you.
Good. Thank you. Yeah. So I wanted to tune in for the stress because Lord knows I feel like I try so many things to decrease the stress and they work. I've made so much progress, and I guess I'm
Woohoo!
just wondering, yes, I want to celebrate that. Um, if there are ways that my body could just be more supported in the releasing or just shifting my relationship with stress.
Okay. Um, just make sure I'm on the right channel because I'm just hearing things yell in my head right as you said that. So just a second, I just heard like a whole, somebody was like, ask for help was what I heard screamed in my head. But I'm going to back up and make sure I'm on the right channel. Here we go. Samira. Okay, so now I can feel the ask for help is kind of a surface judgment sort of level of, like a mind version, right?
Yes.
And what I feel from you when I tap in is, sorry, let me get them to give me the right words here.
Yes.
This is a system of stress.
Mm.
Okay,
Yes.
so and a long-term evidence of not trusting that working in particular ways because there's a lot of evidence that it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. um, so let's see, then I'm hearing your guide say, is it time? And I feel like I'm supposed to ask that question to you, and you're the only one who knows what I mean by that, and I don't need an answer, but you need to ask yourself. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then the next. Um, there, I am feeling what I consider to be like an entity here, right? Which is an entity just means a belief plus an energetic influence that's been going on a long time that's kind of created a resistance or a desire. And in this case, I feel this is a resistance one.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what I flavor of this, did we already talk about this one? There's a sense of like, oh my lord, darling. Okay. Sorry, this is a little out of my normal, but let me see if I can just tell you what I'm feeling. I'm feeling a need to be strong, but what I feel here is not kind of a normal kind of level of entity. What I'm feeling is almost like a collective entity, uh, or like a cultural entity.
Yeah.
So there's a collective resistance, and they're showing it to me as, so it's not like a god, and it's not like a demon, right? And it's not like an angel. It's kind of like a ceiling, or
Mm.
like just like this vast kind of, it kind of looks like a lake of dark color, um,
Yeah.
which is both foggy and also comforting. It's like, um, it's foggy so that you can't see in the water, right? So when you go into that resistance thing, um, you get you get invisible in a way that makes you safe because no one can see anyone in there,
Right.
but you also can't see anything in there.
Right.
Like there's nowhere it's hard to get out of because it's hard to see. Um, and then I don't. What they're showing me is like every once in a while, you people peek up through the top, like and look around to see who else is up there. But what I'm seeing is like there's so often when a person peeks up above the water, they miss all the people that just peeked up because they're going back down, right?
Mm.
So often it's hard to feel how many others are in there with you. So it still feels a lot like I'm alone, or oh, there's two people, right?
Mm.
Right? So what they're showing me is the first step for you might actually be to feel the others that are in the lake with you.
Yes.
There we go. And now as a collective group, um, show me. All really that has to happen here is for the people, for everyone in the lake to notice the lake. So can you just look at it? And they're showing me for you, you have such a beautiful ability to express to others. Like your voice, your fifth chakra voice is so strong. Okay? So it's almost like sing to them or speak out to them, call out and show them the lake.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, and I see if you want, you can let the waters recede down. You don't have to get out of the lake. But it would be nice if it would collectively if it would come down maybe to the heart level at least so that you guys can see how many others of you are in there.
Yes.
Because once you do that, you're unstoppable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
so helpful.
And
That
in
answers so much.
awesome. They want me to cross off be strong and change it to we are strong.
Yes.
There we go. And then your collective resistance is deliberate. But it's not a fight necessarily. It's just deliberate. Okay, that's what I feel on that one. Is it time?
Thank you. That's so helpful.
Thank you. Thank you for showing me something I haven't seen before. That's always fun for me.
Beautiful.
Mm, that was beautiful. Oh, yes. Samira, you have just been tasked to do the deed, right?
Not alone. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's definitely at the forefront of a lot of collective healing, and her voice does need to be heard, that's for sure.
Yes.
And so, who better to deliver that message than somebody who really deeply understands it, how all of these systems work and all of that. So, to induce stress on so many different levels.
Don't imagine that's an accident.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, we choose our experience, don't we?
Chooses us sometimes.
Yes, yes, that too. So, I don't see anybody else that is
Are you able to hear me?
who.
Who am I? I
Oh, is
am
that
hearing
Jeanette?
somebody.
Yes.
Oh,
Jeanette!
I don't see
Oh, yay!
you. I don't see you, but yay. Okay, good.
You have
Just a little trick
disappeared.
that it works. Yes, I'm incognito now. I could be
Ah,
anybody.
wow. Yay, but we can hear you.
Excellent. So can I go ahead?
Please.
Yes.
Okay. I was gonna ask something, and now it's changed.
Great.
So I guess it's great that you couldn't hear me before. Geopathic stress.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I mean, right now I know there's some in my system because it's smoky in Portland as well, and
Okay.
um, it's smoke is like the only thing that can really get me anxious on a visceral level, and it's the reason I left California. But
Oh,
obviously, I
wow.
didn't go far enough. Um, so I know there's that, and it doesn't happen that often in Portland. Um, but I'm wondering if there is somewhere that my body and soul would be happier.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so thank you. Where will my body be happy? Jeanette. Before we get that, I need to just shout out to the terms I use, geopathic stress, because I need to say this to the whole world because I have used that term, and that term actually refers specifically to points of stress from crossing over of ley lines on the planet that create physical stress on the body. That term geopathic stress was coined by not me, so I do want to give the correct definition based on that. I have made it into a broader. So to me it does mean the earth, or I should call it Gaia stress. Maybe I'll call it that. So I'm not taking away their term. There, now I can get out of that stuckness and shout out to the awesome people who coined geopathic. All right, so where will you be most healthy? Jeanette. You're still incognito. Just a second. I'm trying to find you. There you are. Okay. All right. So what they're showing me is where you are right now. It feels like the Earth interaction with you is very magnetic where you are. So it's like you feel almost as if you're being pulled to the Earth right there. So I would guess that being grounded there is not very hard for you, right? So it feels
Yeah.
like it's almost, and I have to say this, I think it's almost a little heavy to me. Like it actually feels almost like it pulls you a little too hard to
Okay.
the earth.
Yeah.
So it might almost make you feel like it's hard to get momentum easily or hard to get things moving and a little bit lighter. That feels it feels a bit magnetic. So let's see if they can give me more information. So can I show you a trick?
Yeah.
They're wanting me to let you do this for yourself. I would like you to, let's see, globe or country? We want globe. So I'd like you to imagine the whole Earth as a globe right in front of you in space. Let me see if you,
Okay.
okay? And now you're going to ask it to light up the best areas for you. And I want you to see them to just light up like they're like a light on the globe.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, did you get any?
Bali, which I wouldn't want to live there.
Okay,
um, kind of just subtropical.
awesome. So usually the next step when I have people do this is usually people get a couple, right? Did you get just one? Because
Well,
that's
it's
pretty
hard to
obvious.
see.
Okay.
It's hard to see past the one I've already chosen, but I didn't want to mention it because I wanted to see if it would come up. But I wonder if you could feel it for
Did
me.
Portland light up, or do you
Oh
mean the one
no,
you're already on?
no, the one I want to move to next summer.
Oh, there you go. So feel that one,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and then just let yourself anchor into the land in your mind right there. So you're gonna feel like you're moved there, and I want you to feel yourself connect to the land.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay, now just feel the quality of that. So that one to me feels much more, it's lighter, but it almost is a little bit to the too light side. It feels more mountainous to me or something, like it has more of an up feeling, like mountains or like a lighter in the air feeling. And it feels, I feel more nature there for you, or not more, different nature there. And it reminds me of Colorado a little bit. I don't know where it is exactly, but it's like that feeling in Colorado I've gotten of like things are just the air's thinner. It's a little easier to move around. It's a little easier to feel healthier. Like healthy ways of lifestyle. But what I don't feel there is a lot of ease of anchoring in. So it's interesting to me how much different that one feels from where you are. They feel very contrasted. So the one you're in feels very grounded, very anchored, very magnetic, and the other one you just showed me feels kind of light and energetic and up and floofy a little bit in that realm. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay, so the next question, we have volition, would be for what purpose are you wanting your environment to support you for this next part of your life, right? Is it more useful for you to be in a place that is anchored and earthy and grounded right now? Or is it more useful for you to be in a more of an innovative, upgoing energy? And so you want to look at your current goals and see, is which place will best facilitate what I'm wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
Did that make sense?
It does. Yeah, I'm already set on leaving.
Already going.
Well,
All
yeah,
right.
the seasonal depression is just too much.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
need
I
to
feel
go.
like
So
that will
so
be a
yeah,
lot less
definitely.
there.
Yeah.
So there you go. So you might, or you might know you're going and go, and then just make sure that you make some effort to notice when you feel a little floofy, right? And then go and ground yourself, or make a system to help you easily ground into the earth there, so that you can get stuff done and not float off the planet.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So you
It
just
does.
prepare for it. Yeah.
Are you able to feel into Florida for me?
Sure. Florida. Florida feels a little bit like Goldilocks, actually. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
knew it.
So we've got the middle, right? Just right. Florida feels kind of sunny. I feel like you're anchored and grounded, but very active. It feels actually very athletic for some reason. Like it feels like it'll be easy for you to be healthy. That feels most healthy of the three things we've felt for your physical body.
Yeah.
And I do think there's something about, I don't know if that's your ocean. Like, I don't think the ocean is bad, but it feels like there's a groundedness in the culture, in the land. Um, it feels like your ocean is further away, but I almost feel like your ocean might be like either in like India or so, like other side of the world. I don't know why. Like it feels like your ocean connection is on the other side of the planet somewhere, or maybe that is Caribbean. I'm not sure, but it feels like it's further away. Your ocean feeling, that where you'd really feel at home by the ocean. Have you connected into any of the oceans on the other side of the world?
Yeah. I scuba dove. I don't know how to say
Scuba dove.
in Madagascar
Oh
and the
my.
Philippines.
There we
So
go.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
really immersed in the ocean there for a while.
Yeah. That second one, it feels like that
Oh, the
ocean is the one
Philippines.
that you might reach out to connect.
Oh, that's
So it doesn't
interesting.
necessarily mean you need to live there. That just means sometimes that ocean comes to support you. So if you go to Florida and you feel really good in your health, but you just aren't gelling with, the Atlantic is not your guy,
Oh
don't
no, it's the
worry.
Gulf Coast, and the Gulf
That, oh,
Coast
you're fine
reminds
then.
me
Yeah. There you go.
of
Close
places.
enough.
That's why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
brilliant.
sounds
Thank
like
you.
my pleasure. Thanks for playing. I'm still interested in how you are disappeared.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Actually, I popped off, and then when I came back, she's on there. It's really
Oh,
interesting. Yeah.
and
So,
she's still not on mine. That's interesting.
yeah, you would have to
And,
pop out of the room, pop back in, and then there she is.
Okay,
and
maybe
she
I
was on
won't do
mine the
that.
whole time. So
Oh,
so we had all
Aha!
three. We had all three.
Yay! Thank goodness.
It's been playing quite a bit in the chat. So I think yes, Clubhouse is going through something today
A
where it's
system of
oh,
in,
stress.
in
interesting.
between realities. Trying to type and paste has been a fascinating experience. So
I
So
am
now
so
we
grateful you're
have,
doing that.
yeah, technological stress.
yes,
It's a
Absolutely.
thing. It's a real thing.
Communication stress.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was fascinating. I love that you can tune into the places too, in addition to all the other amazing ways that you tune into where our body thrives. And so it's an important piece, I think, for everybody to remember that your environment absolutely 100% does impact your health and well-being. And yeah, Jeanette, the smoke.
Ooh.
It's intense today, but it is sunny, which is unusual for this time of year. But or it's not unusual for this time of year, but seasonal depression is a thing. Light is a thing. Getting enough light. So listen to your body. So that looks
Maybe we should
like
collectively pray to put some fires out here. That
right.
wouldn't be a terrible plan. Yeah, bring some
Yeah.
some cool and some rain.
It's
Yes,
happening.
just
It's starting tomorrow night. So
All right.
at least in
yay!
the
On the way.
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yay. I'm also ready to have all the dust get off of all of the vegetation
Yes.
and
The
all of that.
plants.
The poor little plants are
I
like
know.
not breathing well either. So that concludes the medical intuitive portion of our program.
Yay. All right.
And this window of health, the factors of stress, the different factors of stress. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Aubrey, before we close?
Um, let's see if anything else wants to come through. I just heard we can do it. We can do it. Um, and with the emphasis on we can
Mm-hmm.
do it, uh, is the take home of this window. So
Yeah, and that's
thank you,
true.
Carolyn.
Yeah, moving forward, it's a we, it's an us. We
Yeah.
all are part of the collective unfolding and evolution of the planet right now. We're all needed, all hands on deck.
Yes,
Right? Yeah,
absolutely.
fantastic.
And thank
Okay,
you,
so
everyone, Carolyn and Christine. Thank you for your help.